time is a luxury you don't have, Admiral. Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, as you can see by the title of this video, I'm going to have a little look at the Playmates 5-inch action figure of Khan. Ricardo Montalban as Khan from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. But sadly, ironically, coincidentally, we got the news this morning that Kirstie Alley, who plays Lieutenant Saavik, the sexy Vulcan on the Enterprise in Star Trek II, that was her big movie debut after making many TV shows beforehand and then going on to many more TV shows afterwards and becoming a household name with the likes of Cheers and Veronica's Closet. Sadly, she passed away at the age of 71 and from cancer. And, it shows you that even though my wife, Mrs. Kilt-Man, hates Star Trek, doesn't really like American comedies so much, and didn't used to watch Cheers or Veronica's Closet for that matter, but she came running up the stairs to tell me, this morning, that, have you heard Kirstie Alley's died? And I just heard it on the radio myself, and I was already like, oh no. But I began thinking, like, well, why are you so bothered? But the thing is, Kirstie Alley was in many movies, like the Look Who's Talking movies. Also on many, many TV shows. And during the 90s and early 2000s, she was also a bit of a darling on chat shows and things. So I think that's how my wife probably got to know her. Probably knew who she was, but got to know her via this sort of thing. A lot of exposure to her. And liked her. Forthright, opinionated woman. Charming. And quite witty as well. So, it is sadly coinciding with me talking about a figure from the film that she made her big movie debut in. She was also in John Carpenter's remake of Village of the Damned, a film I have covered on the channel. Not Carpenter's best, but she plays like a human villainess in that movie where there's aliens and possessions and things. And she plays this authoritative bureaucrat, scientist, working for the military, but working for her own agenda as well. And it's a bit of an underwritten, unfleshed out character, but she still gives it enough to make her memorable in the movie, which is otherwise quite bland. So it's terribly sad. The thing about when I was about, 10, 11 years old, when Wrath of Khan came out, it was those arched eyebrows and those pointy ears. That was a sexy combination. And she was gorgeous in that movie. So it's very sad to report that. But anyway, I've tried to do my hair like Ricardo Montalban's wig in Wrath of Khan, but being as mine's real hair and rebellious, it ain't sitting right, And plus my fringe is a hell of a lot longer than what he has. So it's curling into my mouth now, and I'll be choking and gagging on that later. But anyway, I've made an effort to do it, and I've put my Michael Jackson one glove on. Why does Khan only wear one glove? We see him take the other one off when he obviously meets Chekhov and Captain Tyrrell, who've made the erroneous discovery that they're on the wrong planet. Uh-oh, this is SETI Alpha 5! Botany Bay? Botany Bay? Oops. Hello, you met my pets, the SETI Alpha eels. Great with the clam chowder. But he takes one glove off very operatically when he first meets Khan. We've met him before in Space Seed, of course, which is why he's a recurring villain. Well, in two things anyway. Unless, of course, we count Star Trek Into Darkness, which we won't count. Benedict Cumberbatch as someone called Khan Noonien Singh. Doesn't work, folks. Doesn't work. And didn't work. I hated Star Trek Into Darkness. It was awful. Anyway, but when Ricardo makes his big, grand operatic entrance, and unmasks himself like, even though we never knew Chekhov, because Chekhov wasn't in that first episode at all, but it doesn't matter. We gloss over that. Nicholas Meyer, the director, says to him, like, Ricardo, take it down a notch or two. You're being really OTT. You're screaming and giving it loads. So they did. Ricardo took it down a notch or two, and then kept, throughout the production of the movie, kept having to be reminded to like, just bring it down, bring it down. But the finished movie, Model Balance, outstanding. Khan is one of the most memorable villains that any franchise or any movie, genre movies ever offered up. A real great nemesis, an arch enemy for Captain Kirk, who is one of the perennial favourite heroes of the genre. So, but he leaves one glove on. I never asked, well, why does he leave one glove on? For the rest of the movie, he's got one glove on. Is his hand deformed? Is it all burnt? What is it? There is no reason. There's no reason at all. That's what's great about it. Mayer has said, look, I'm not giving you the answers. I just left it on. It's purely for theatrical purposes, to make you start thinking, what's going on there? And you have, for decades since the film's come out, people still ask and wonder what's going on underneath the glove. Nothing is going on underneath the glove. It's just make up your own answers. It's just there for effect. And boy, does it have an effect. So, anyway, I've discussed Star Trek II so many times and reenacted some of the scenes so many times that I'm going to do it all over again. Because what a perfect excuse. First of all, I'm going to get this frigging glove off because I can't exactly handle the merchandise. Steady on. With a sort of gammy, fluffed up hand. So Playmates have released a few things now for Star Trek. Figures and the Enterprise and the phaser. I think it's a tricorder. It might even be like a communicator as well. I showed you the classic phaser that Playmates released, which is still here. It's there. I did a big video on that, and that's still great. Very happy with that. From Star Trek 2, they've released a Spock figure, 5-inch, a Kirk figure, 5-inch, and in that the glorious, red or maroon serge, coloured, exterior jackets, with almost like Federation Santa Claus, aren't they? The big fairy red jackets and the little sort of white trim around the necks look fantastic. I love them, and the little flap down that they have in the front as well, which is handy for when someone smears blood all over the white, the pristine white of the captain's tunic to make it more poignant. So they've released Spock and Kirk and now Khan. Now, unlike other figure videos that I do, I'm not going to get the accessories out of the pack. I'll tell you what they are and I'll talk about them, but I've seen other people do it and they're not impressive. They're just not impressive. And also, I've seen too many other people looking at this figure that he can't even hold them properly anyway, so let's not bother. Right. Here he is. All together now. On screen. Khan. Ah, you recognise me, my old friend. Admiral. There he is. 5 inches of muscle-bound plastic glory. It comes with a little stand, the Federation, stand, Starfleet insignia. You wonder why he's got that, And I'll be honest now, the stand is crap because it has one pin on it. So obviously 1 foot's going to be raised up and 1 foot's going to be flat down on one of the surface. You can get him trying to surf on it, but he won't stand up on it properly. So don't worry too much about the stand. He does stand up perfectly well without that. So I'm going to take him off anyway. Right, there you go. Here he is. 5 inches there. Now, not the first time I've said that. That's all you're worth. If you're a good girl, you might get a few more inches. But there he is. The sculpt and paintwork are really damn good. Now, again, with my lousy camera, because I'm not using the 4K element because it takes 3 days to upload it, but you can see the sculpt on his face there pretty well, I think. And the sculpt is amazing. The hair is great. The flowing grey locks. Once I go grey, if that ever happens, I'm going to sport that look. If I've still got hair to sport it with. But it's great. The fringe is a bit heavier, I think, on the sculpt for the hairdo. Because it should be a bit more whimsical and you can see through it and it's a bit more fine. But, I'm nitpicking. It's got its one glove on. There you can see, one glove. Great, with the studded effect on it as well. The hands all swivel round, the elbow joint swivels, the bicep part will move. You've got ball joints at the shoulders. The legs are moved. Actually, quite that is it. The left, the right leg is actually quite loose. As you can look, it's a bit on the floppy side. I have to tighten that up a little bit, but he's not exactly going to be running anywhere, so I'm not too bothered about that. He's going to be in one position, and I've already got him in the position I like him best in. And that is, as I say, time is a luxury you don't have, Admiral. And he's talking to Joaquin, and he's, Admiral, if it's me you want, Khan, I'll have myself beamed aboard. Spare my crew. So, I'll agree to your condition. I'll agree to your terms on one condition. That in addition to yourself, you beam aboard all data and material regarding the project known as Genesis. Genesis, what's that? Don't insult my intelligence, Admiral. But that confrontation, which isn't even physically in the same room, it's on view screens, and the two starships probably, 30,000 kilometers apart. It's space. You need a lot of distance between these things. But that is the pivotal moment for me. And here's the Reliant. He's hijacked the Reliant and using that as a smokescreen. We're all one happy fleet, Suddenly they raise their shields. When Kirk's going, this is damn peculiar. And then, but before they can raise theirs, the Reliant, fire! And they cripple the Enterprise. But this scene anyway. But that sequence there is just the best. You'll have a couple more sequences where they're not going to be in the same place. You're going to have Khan ordering the execution of Kirk down in the Genesis cave. And of course, Tyrell, I tried to, Excellency, but I cannot. And he ends up turning a phaser on himself and warping himself into oblivion. And then Chekhov just goes, whoa, as the SETI Alpha eel makes its exit from his ear. Fucking great, isn't it? But this, it's a nicely detailed figure. All his bling, his tribal bling is there. His musculature. And that, as I say, everyone goes like, Ricardo Montalban, oh, you wore a prosthetic chest. He didn't. No, he didn't. He worked out, he pumped, and his pecs are impeccable. They're wonderful, and the sculpt does bring that across. But the sculpt is wonderful on the face. The waist itself, there's no movement front or back, and you can't turn him round at the waist, that's a bit of a pain, to be honest, because I want it in that sort of, his legs are going that way, but he's turned that way. Admiral, 45 seconds. But that gesture, and I like the way it isn't the gloved hand as well. It's doing it. It's the bare hand, but you kind of do see that in the background. And it just adds to the mysterious effect and the menace of this character. And the charm and the charisma, what makes the perfect villain. You've got to be charismatic as well. If you're not going to be just heinously horrible, you've got to have some... You want to listen to them talk. You want to understand where they're coming from. And he has got ample reason for doing what he does. Being marooned on SETI Alpha 5. SETI Alpha 6 blows up, but the shockwave destroys half of his people, including his wife. But it's wonderful. And of course, the final conversation is in the Mutara Nebula. Kirk's outwitted him again and managed to get back aboard the Enterprise, and it's all been fixed up. And then they go after the Reliant, or they lead the Reliant into the Mutara Nebula. And of course, he's now got the Genesis device, the Genesis torpedo, which is going to, ignite at the end after being defeated yet again. But his final move is to, blow up the Genesis device, which creates life from nothingness. But in order to do so, it's going to have to destroy everything that's already there to create new life. So it's a missile, it's a bomb as well, it's Armageddon. It's fresh life from the apocalypse. Weird concept, but there you go. But look at that. Now, I'm not too sure about the boots. because I don't really recall seeing his footwear much in the movie itself. But I'm going on the fact that they probably are correct with all the tribal fairy bits and straps and what have you. He also appears to have knee pads on. Knee pads? Knee pads? That's probably on his hands and knees trying to catch them fucking pesky little Seti Alpha eels. Oh, well, I've lost another one. Joaquin, put the foot down on that one. Yours is the superior intellect. You know. But there he is. As I say, I'm not going too in depth on this. It seems kind of wrong at the same time as the news of Kirstie Alley passing away. But it is a great figure, and you know he's fully articulated. You know he can do a song and dance. If I were a rich con, na 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 na. You know, so he can do all that kind of stuff. She looks quite good. That it's like in that scene, you know, the surprise attack on the Enterprise, and then obviously Kirk is doing his little jiggery pokery with the ship's computer to get the prefix number for the Reliance, to have his computer order the Reliance computer to switch off drop the shields. Excellency, the shields are dropping. Well, raise them. I can't, he says. I can't. And like Ricardo Montalban's face is like that. I had him. You know, yeah. He's not going anywhere. He's dead in space. You know, it's just genius. But in the background where Kirk's like saying to Spock, keep nodding at someone giving you orders. Saavik, you keep on quoting the manual. But in the meantime, get this. You know, he may have changed the prefix code. He's rather intelligent, you know. And, but in the background on the view screen, you can see him chatting with Joaquin, his trusted lieutenant. And although he's got his back to the screen like that, Joaquin's sort of talking to him, but he keeps looking over at the screen. But I'd love to see a version where, you know, the two of them are just joking away, and like Carlin's going, "Yes, I caught one. It was this big," and Joaquin's going, brilliant stuff. But the other stuff in here, right? What he's got, I'm not going to get them out because they're too small, and you're just not going to see them, and they're grey and they're crap. He's got a phaser. Why has he got a phaser? Does he ever use a phaser in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan? No. So why has he got a phaser? Photon torpedoes and phaser banks, yeah. He doesn't have a fucking phaser. So why are they giving him one? It's so when you got him on the Kirk and the Spock standoff, a bit like the end of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. Oh, by the way, the good, the mad and the ugly. Yeah, that's a Mad Max Fury Road variation on Sergio Leone's classic movie. He had a three-way standoff with the phasers. You know, you could do that with the figures, but it doesn't make any sense, does it? You also have that there. I don't know if you can see that. That is the Genesis device control panel, which is like, from hell's heart I spit at thee, you know. And it's just a piece of plastic, grey plastic. There's detailing on it, but it's hollow as well, so it's very light. He has the tongs, the barbecue tongs, with which he takes out the Seti Alpha eels from the little bowl of Seti Alpha eels, which is there. Now, in theory, you can have him holding the tongs in one hand and the bowl of eels in the other hand, you know, but it's going to look shit. And you put the phaser sits wrongly in the hands, so it just, what's the point? Leave them there for posterity. I just want the figure, you know, on his own, in that sort of stance. Admiral. Come on, you've got to give me more time. You know, the bridge is smashed, the computer's inoperative. Time is a luxury you don't have. Admiral. The other figures, the Spock one's pretty good. I haven't got it, but I've seen it. The Spock one's pretty good. The Kirk one isn't quite as good because it's almost like, a bit like William Shatner himself. He's either got too much makeup on or they've slathered him with DNR, you know. So he's all kind of waxy and shiny and wrinkleless, which is not what they've done with Khan. Khan has his wrinkles and it's very sort of carved in stone sort of features. And it is brilliant. I wish you could see it a bit more clearly on this rather crappy camera. But it is a really great figure. What I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the ring light off for a second and see if maybe you see a bit more detail. That would be a big fat no. But you can see his musculature and his sort of veiny arms as well, like his veiny forearms. Put that back on. So little holes in his feet to stick him on, that rather ridiculous and sort of, you know, it's superfluous. And why would he have a Federation, a Starfleet insignia, you know, base to stand on? But if you like that sort of thing, and with some figures you definitely need to have stands because they will not stand on their own. You need that extra stability. But like it's like Highlander 2, flying around on the bin lids. Now, I did have a vintage Star Trek the motion picture figure of Scotty, and he's been living on here for like ever, but I can't find him. Just one second, because I want to have him hold someone up like that, you know. Just one second. Oh, come on now. Scotty! Great Scott! Well, I can't find Scotty. I don't know what the hell I've done with Scotty, folks. He's obviously beamed himself off somewhere. No, he's not there. But you can have him hoisting. Where are the Genesis plans? Stop the breathing in my face. But yeah, a figure like Chekhov would be great. Because he's got Chekhov on those space suits that they've got, these atmosphere pressure suits. There's a great big handhold, which is very convenient if you want to hold someone up and hoist them up and show off your super genetic, super strength. That's what he does. Hey! Meant to do it. Back from the dead, assholes! The emergency exit's here and here. He does look like he's just left on stage during a musical. Oh, I'm sorry. Can't. You're one of the most serioso and yet fantastic of villains, and I've belittled you. But he's great. I do love him. And I do like the figure. I'm sort of panning the extras because they're just not very good. They're just bland grey. There's detailing on them, but why does he need a phaser? I like the gimmick of the eels in the bowl. It's probably a good idea that they didn't colour them in because they look like turds floating around the toilet bowl, wouldn't they? And he's got his little tongues to get him out. But he is not going to look good holding that sort of stuff, I don't think. But as a figure itself, a bit of merch to go with the rest of your Star Trek 2 collection, he's fucking ideal, you know. And I do think he's a great figure. And he can get into quite a lot of interesting poses. I think it's because of the costume as well and the because even as a piece of plastic, he's really, really flamboyant and operatic and OTT, isn't he? He's like, forsooth, what light through yonder window breaks? You know? Alas, he can have a little skull in his hand. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him well. And his head does move as well, although it's restricted by the flowing plastic bouffants, so you can't. It does turn left and right. It does move slightly backwards and forwards, doesn't it? Yes, it does. But I think it's a great figure, and certainly of the range. I know you won't care, obviously, but he's a better figure. There's more going on there, but you kind of want the two of them together. And you can reenact the scene that you never see in the movie, unless you put them on you film them on two cameras and film it together where they're looking at view screens of each other. It's never going to happen otherwise, is it? Well, I love it. There he is. That is definitely more Shakespearean, that. But, yeah. Folks, there you go. I wasn't really going to go in depth on it, but it's a 5-inch figure. What else are you going to do? You know. surprise attack. But let's go for it. Well, let's play it all through with Kirk's explosive reply. It's also a great showcase for Saavik as well. You know, she's like, you know, what are you doing? You know, you have to understand why things work on a starship. Because the whole film is a cat and mouse game. You know, Khan may have the superior physical strength and also the superior intellect, as he keeps on getting told. But Kirk has Saavik and Savi on his side. And the film does make the point that that cheating is good. How do you beat the Kobayashi Maru? An unwinnable situation. You break in and you reprogram the computer so that you can win. What Kirk is saying to everybody, and it's a fundamental thing in life as well, if you need to survive, you do whatever you can to survive. And if that means cheating, then you cheat. Cheating is not good in exams and stuff like that. In the lottery or in trying to win a race. But in survival terms, if it's life and death, you use any means at your disposal. And if that means cheating, lying, a bit of skullduggery, you'll damn well do it. And Kirk epitomises that. He'll use any situation. He'll find the little loophole. He'll find something which no one else thinks about because, oh, we can't do that because we've been trained never to do it. But if it's going to work, let's do it, you know. So he outwits Khan almost at every juncture, except, of course, at the end when Khan, you know, detonates the Genesis torpedo. And, of course, the only way to get out of there, someone's got to sacrifice themselves to lift that great big thing off and let the radioactive thingy-bobs in the engine room of the Enterprise do whatever those great big light and smoke beams do. But obviously it irradiates and will kill poor Spock, who sacrifices himself to save his beloved crew of the Enterprise. And they manage to whoosh out of there as the big sort of sonic boom sound wave, Genesis cloud shock wave, that's a hell of a description there, filters out through space into the cosmos and starts destroying everything in its path but creating things in its wake. Another world. And it only manages to get out there in the nick of time. Like, it's just wonderful. He seems to say Khan before he actually says the word Khan. He mouths it. Khan. Please you remember me, Admiral. And this, of course, is Kirk's explosive reply. And he's got to wear his spectacles, his old vintage antique spectacles, because he's allergic to retinol, which is what people in the 23rd century use when they're blind to give them sight again. It's drinking rum with an ale that blinds you. I should know. I had to wean myself off it by drinking copious bottles of whiskey. James Horner's score. This build-up is brilliant. And you like Spock's just standing there going, at these fictitious orders. I'm not sure how that would make Khan think nothing's going on. You know, just stand there and nod like I'm giving orders. Yeah, okay, but Khan's still going to be thinking, what's he saying to us? Can you amplify all the noise from the bridge of the Enterprise so I can hear what's being said? We're using the Enterprise's computer to order Reliant to drop their shields. You heard that, didn't you, Joaquin? Don't drop the shields. Where's the override? It's the build-up. It slides back. There's a nautical theme element to James Horner's score, which Nicholas Meyer demanded. So I want it militaristic, but in particular, I want it nautical, maritime. Because we're telling almost the Battle of Trafalgar. These are ships, they're men of war at sea. Admiral, Khan, how do I know you're going to keep your word? Oh, I've given you no word to keep. In my judgment, you simply have no alternative. Coming through now, car. Target phases. Fire! And like, Kirk's face is just full of rage. Fire! Fire! And now there's someone at the door. Hang on, folks. The postman! Dear God. This video's beset with problems. I can't find Scotty. Poor Kirstie Alley. Beams herself to a much better place. And now we get the post knocking at the door. Folks, I have been always shall be Kilt-Man. Always beset by problems. And I've got to try and sort my barnet out now as well. Look at this. Well, I don't know. I think with a bit of hairspray, I could be able to actually have the full Khan, Noonien Singh effect. No one says I can't do it. Take a bow. Folks, please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. I'll have something with a bit more substance, perhaps. When do I ever? I've done worse than kill you. I've marooned you, buried alive in the heart of a dead planet. Buried alive, buried alive, buried alive. Gone! Gone, 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 gone. Shaka Khan.